Hello and welcome to ID Redacted. Today we're going to take a look at Megan Connor's reading of the Christine's response to the court case. So this will be a bit interesting to see how Megan handles all the lies that she has to back up from Lauren. Anyway, let's go.
Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to the Midlife Revolution. I'm your host, Megan Connor, and I expect this to be my fourth and final installment on the Lauren Matthias stalking case for October 27th.
Yell out.
I didn't get a chance in my live stream to read the statement of the respondent, and I also had a little over 60 comments and questions starred in my chat that I wanted to address, and I'm going to attempt to do that here. So I'm going to start by reading the statement of the respondent in this case,
This will be
Christina.
good.
And this is her responding to the allegations of Lauren.
That's right. Because it was
I,
one
Christina, do
tied.
hereby state and declare as follows. I'm over the age of 18 and I'm competent to testify in this matter. I have personal knowledge of the facts stated herein. I make this declaration in conjunction with a petition for civil stalking injunction filed by Lauren. Specifically, but without limitation, this declaration addresses the allegations contained in the Declaration of Grayson and the documents referenced therein, and the Declaration of Lauren and the second Declaration of Lauren and the documents referenced therein. I met Lauren in April 2024. Lauren holds herself out as an ex-reporter, journalist, and podcaster dealing primarily with true crime cases. Lauren is a public figure. She and her husband run a YouTube channel, Hidden True Crime, that has approximately 317,000 subscribers. Her Instagram account has over 20,000 followers, and her TikTok account has over 56,000 followers. For several months, I communicated regularly with Lauren, and we became friends. Throughout that time period, I noticed certain red flags that suggested that Lauren's credentials and public image were inaccurate.
So I'll have to stop it a few times just because, fair use and all that sort of stuff. It'll be interesting to hear Megan's take on these papers, and yeah, we'll just keep going with it because again, this is what Christine filed in response to Lauren's restraining order.
I call into question the credentials part of it because she was in fact a former journalist. And so you can dispute her public image, but the credentials part, I don't understand. For example, Lauren would describe to me interpersonal problems with her friends and in-laws based on accusations of theft and fraud. That's vague, and if she had something specific to say there, I think she probably would have said it.
It's already started. It's not vague. Again, it will all come out when it comes to trial that there is a history of that sort of behaviour in Lauren's family. Anyway.
I also learned information that caused me to question Lauren's ethics in obtaining and handling confidential information. During this time period, multiple people expressed concern about Lauren's conduct. At approximately the same time I became friends with Lauren, I also became friends with Lindsay and Lori, who had been friends with Lauren for a year prior. I also became friends with other women who were acquaintances of Lauren's, including Janice. I communicated with, traveled with, and was invited to events with Lauren from April 2024 through the winter of 2024. Lauren also invited me to her house while I was on a work trip in Las Vegas, Nevada. Lauren also invited me and my family to her home to swim in her pool when we were driving from Utah to California. My friendship with Lauren ends. Lauren asked me to perform some graphic design work for her and or her husband's business, which I did at a significant discount given our friendship. Odd to mention the discount. I'm not sure why. By January 2025, my friendship with Lauren was beginning to wane, and we communicated less.
I don't think this is going to do me very good because that was quite nice of Christine to do that for Lauren. Anyway, let's go.
Frequently. I sent Lauren a final invoice in March 2025 for the graphic design work. A copy of the invoice and correspondence related to my rate is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D1. By that point, I was no longer communicating on a regular basis with Lauren or spending time with her as a friend. So I'm going to say March of 2025 as the end of their friendship hanging out. That's going to be important later. On April 9th, 2025, I saw Lauren at the courthouse in Maricopa County, Arizona, after Lauren called out to me to get my attention. Lauren ran towards me, calling my name, and with her arms out, signaling that she wanted a hug. While hugging Lauren, I stated that I had read some of the negative statements Lauren had made about me and others, and that I had seen evidence of her efforts to harm others in their business. Lauren insisted that we talk right then and there, even though I was hesitant because Lauren appeared to be in an elevated, quote, fight, flight, freeze state. So here, Christina is not a diagnostician. How does she know that Lauren is in a fight, flight, or freeze state?
Again, how does Lauren know that she was being, stalked, as she liked to say on her response to the, anyway, yep.
23, Lauren stated we needed to talk immediately because she wanted to be alone and her assistant Grayson never leaves her side, quote, never leaves her side. During that conversation, Lauren acknowledged that some of the negative statements that I had seen were true and then attempted to justify them. Because Lauren does not always accurately represent verbal conversations, I recorded the conversation. However, if I remember correctly from Lauren's video, the recording starts when they walk up to each other, not later on. I could be wrong about that, but I'm fairly certain that Christine was already recording when they walked up to each other.
They're already seen.
After our friendship ended, Lauren initiated repeated contact with me to make accusations I knew to be false and to demand I stop speaking about her, even with mutual acquaintances. After Lauren's initial contact, I exchanged several texts with her on April 21st through 22nd, 2025 regarding her accusations and demands. The texts are expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D2. Lauren blocked and unblocked me multiple times so that she could state her demands and accusations without allowing me any response. Lauren's last text to me was on April 22nd, 2025. It again made false accusations about my conduct and demanded that I refrain from speaking publicly about her. I have not initiated contact with Lauren since March 12th, 2025, when I contacted her for a referral for my neighbor. I have not communicated with Lauren directly or indirectly since April 21st, 2025. However, Lauren unblocked me in August 2025 to remove things from one of our conversations, and I received an alert that she had done so. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here on this again, but people can edit text messages, but I'm not aware of any program that gives you an alert when someone edits a text message or deletes a text message.
Fair use and all that sort of stuff coming into play at the moment. So, again, what you know about what people can do and how they can do it, I don't know. So, again, fair use for stopping it a couple of times just so that I can pop in some commentary. And again, you don't have to agree with me. We're just having a look at how Megan is going through these documents and what sort of bin they will come up with.
From the thread. So I'm not sure that this is accurate. Also on June 5th, 2025, I traveled to Arizona to attend a portion of the Lori Daybell trial. I was in Arizona for only 24 hours. While seated between, I think this is Lori and another friend in the waiting area, I saw Lauren wave at me in an attempt to engage. I ignored her and did not respond. This was another example of Lauren initiating contact with me, not the other way around. 35, I think this is Grayson, tried to call me twice on June 10th, 2025, but I did not answer or return her call. An image depicting the missed calls is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D3. Grayson also sent me a lengthy text message saying that she felt sad that I had my feelings hurt and wanted to have a private conversation. I did not respond. A copy of these texts is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D4. Lauren's conduct towards others. Since April 2025, I've learned of multiple instances where Lauren has behaved strangely and obsessively toward my friends who are also former friends and acquaintances of Lauren. On April 11th, 2025, Lauren sent Lindsay a cease and desist letter containing numerous demands aimed at curbing Lindsay's speech. The cease and desist letter is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D5. Notwithstanding the cease and desist letter, Lauren has taken purposeful steps to contact and communicate with Lindsay. Lindsay describes these in detail in her declaration submitted concurrently herewith. I will also read the cease and desist letter because giving someone a cease and desist about a specific topic doesn't prohibit you from communicating with them.
But if you send someone a cease and desist letter, I would assume it's because you don't want any contact with them. So regardless of if there was a seat next to her, anyway, keep going.
Then there's something about a similar letter to another mutual acquaintance here. 40. The declaration describes 2 alleged instances in Boise involving, I think this is Janice and Lori and Lindsay and others. I was in Europe when these occurred, and I learned about them only later. Lori, Lindsay, and Janice recount what occurred in their declarations submitted concurrently herewith. I've since received the Boise Police Department report along with copies of the videos Lauren submitted to the Boise Police. Some of the videos were of my posts online, even though I was not in Boise when the alleged incidents occurred. In the report, the officer stated that Lauren provided me with videos of 2 different incidents, including the incident at Bitter Creek Ale House. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behavior in the videos. That's a quote from the police report. At no point did I ask, encourage, or facilitate any of my friends or anyone else to contact Lauren. Indeed, in a majority of instances, Lauren herself provoked the encounter with me in and before April until recently at CrimeCon and my friends. Lauren and Grayson have engaged in a pattern of entering spaces where I already am. Next section is Lauren's effort to prevent public discourse. As evident from the Lauren declarations and Grayson declaration, Lauren's main issue is with public statements that I have allegedly made about Lauren. Lauren mischaracterizes many of these statements or describes them vaguely to misconstrue them or present them out of context. For example, Lauren alleges that I mocked a police officer when in fact I merely pointed out inaccuracies in what the officer told me, as is my right. A recording of my post is expected to be offered to my defense as Exhibit D6. Now, if you go to the TikTok that Christina is referencing here, it's very clear that she's using music and other cues in the video that are essentially mocking what the police officer was telling her.
In your opinion. Okay? In your opinion. Fair use.
Christina says she's merely pointing out inaccuracies. Well, she's doing that in a mocking way, in my opinion, allegedly.
Allegedly.
48. Lauren omits any discussion of the context of that video, which was that I was contacted by the Henderson, Nevada Police Department after Lauren contacted police in June 2025 to report that I and others were sharing, quote, private communications we had with Lauren. I expect to offer in my defense a copy of the Henderson Police Report as Exhibit D7, in which the officer states that he or she, quote, did not find extortion, quote, no text messages were intercepted, and Lauren's private messages were not hacked. The Lauren declaration describes my public comments as, quote, targeted and aimed at, quote, trying to get people to identify who I am to come after me. This is not true. Although it is true that Christina did use Lauren's name as a hashtag in the videos. 51, Lauren.
Oh, geez. Fair use again. How do you know? Because Lauren told you? Anyway. It's just, look, she's an ex-Mormon, so she claims, but I don't know if you once a Mormon, always a Mormon. I don't know. Anyway, fair use.
Also alleges that I posted an emoji on a podcast she participated in to, quote, let people know I was watching. The podcast was live and open to public comments. As Lauren's declaration seems to acknowledge, I did not post the emoji to communicate specifically with Lauren, but to, quote, sign in and participate in the public chat. Although the emoji was the side-eye emoji, which is not really something people usually use to just check in and participate in the chat.
That's your opinion. I use the side eyes all the time. Anyway. It's the side eyes, just a bit of someone popping in just to sort of see if who's around. So the side eyes, again, your opinion.
As far as I could tell, Christina did not participate in any of the rest of the chat, but simply sent that side-eye emoji.
Oh,
That was just
dear.
my observation.
Oh, dear.
An image of the emoji is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D8. As the Lauren declarations demonstrate, Lauren takes issue with any public post that I make about or related to her, and any effort I make to investigate and or report on issues of public interest relating to Lauren. Some of my online content provides information about Lauren to the general public. My statements are not directed at Lauren, Grayson, or Lauren's family. That's false, because we know that Christina made a TikTok specifically about Lauren's brother. I believe that Lauren's goal,
based on what Lauren had told her. So get off on that, bringing that up as something bad. But for Lauren, that story would not be public.
is to quash my efforts to investigate and report truth and exercise my free speech rights under the First Amendment. For example, Lauren often makes claims regarding her husband's credentials as a psychologist and adjunct professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, or UNLV. However, I learned that UNLV has no record of Lauren's husband serving as an adjunct professor, which Lauren appears to acknowledge in her declaration. I created a video discussing this issue and posted it for public information. An incredibly ignorant video, in my opinion, in which Christina proves that she doesn't know what a PhD is. And in Lauren's live, she reads a statement from one of the faculty at UNLV stating that Dr. John is, in fact, an adjunct professor there, that he donates his time there, and that he's not, I guess, on the listed faculty. So that's why it would not be public information.
There you go, everyone. You ignorant people. Don't you know Dr. John got a letter for someone at the university? Oh, geez. Fair use. Carry on.
That he actually serves there. 56. I also believe that Lauren is attempting to prevent me from attending public events such as criminal proceedings and true crime conventions. In the singular, though, right? Just one true crime convention. 57. Lauren.
Now we're going to get up on grammar. Good on you. Go, Megan.
Is attempting to use this action to further this goal. Through this action, Lauren had me removed from CrimeCon in Denver, Colorado on the weekend starting Friday, September 5th, 2025. And actually, the injunction was put in place specifically prohibiting Christina from even being at the convention. So knowing that, I'm not really sure why she would have went ahead and traveled to.
Because she wasn't served that paperwork. She'd already left. Her husband actually accepted the paperwork on her behalf because she was already at the convention. So sorry, Megan. Might check your timelines. But anyway, you go with what Lauren tells you.
The convention in a knowing violation of this order. I purchased my ticket in June 2024 for approximately $1,800. Again, doesn't matter when you purchase the ticket. If there is an injunction against you, you don't go. 60. At the time, I was regularly in communication and friends with Lauren. June of 2024. Is that a dispute?
See, fair use.
Lauren was aware I purchased a ticket and she had no plans to attend. That you were aware of. 61. As recently as June 2025, Lindsay overheard Grayson tell a friend that Lauren said that she did not have plans to attend CrimeCon. Now, this statement is complete hearsay. It would not be admissible in court. That Lindsay overheard Grayson tells a friend that Lauren said, so this is Grayson telling a friend something Lauren said, that she didn't have plans to attend CrimeCon. Well,
thank you, lawyer Megan. I think you might just want to stick to reading the documents and maybe a bit more unbiased. Anyway, that's my comment, my opinion, in my opinion. Anyway, this is what the documents say, and your comments are not helping Lauren.
Never mind the fact that that's all hearsay, but it's all beside the point. Because if you were enjoined from attending the event, you shouldn't have attended the event, regardless of whether the other person had plans to attend or not.
She's already
It's in the court order. 62, unbeknownst to me, Lauren changed her mind and attended CrimeCon, knowing that I would be in attendance with, I think this is Lindsay and Lori and perhaps Janice. Now, here's something I want to...
It just doesn't matter what you think. Read the documents.
Point out that probably a lot of people don't know. Lauren was invited to attend CrimeCon to go to the award ceremony that was honoring the families of Abby and Libby from the Delphi case. So the primary reason for Lauren and Grayson attending CrimeCon was to attend the Clue Awards. Now, I don't know when they were invited, at what the time frame was, but obviously they were concerned about attending enough to have it put in the injunction, which they obtained prior to the convention, which was served prior to the convention.
Oh, blah, blah, blah. God, come on.
So again, it doesn't really matter what Grayson told a friend that Lauren said. What matters is that Christina was not supposed to attend according to the injunction, and she went ahead and went anyway.
Documents. Okay.
63. I later learned that Lauren announced her plans publicly on a live stream. A video of the announcement is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D9. Lauren was not a speaker and did not have a booth at CrimeCon. She purchased a, quote, day pass, and CrimeCon was not a, quote, work event for Lauren, as she stated in her second declaration. Now, again, anyone could argue that CrimeCon would be a work event for Lauren because she is in the true crime space and it is a true crime convention. Lauren related to me that she doesn't get a booth there because it's far better publicity for her to walk around and talk to people in the crowd. And again, she was invited to attend the Clue Awards. And she, as I recall, did do a couple of live streams and made other videos while she was there. So she absolutely was working at the CrimeCon event. I don't have...
She wasn't invited to the Delphi event. It was a fundraiser. So...
any evidence that Christina was working at the CrimeCon event, although she does say later in her declaration that she took a picture for Lindsay of Lindsay's employer. And I guess she's trying to claim that she is a photographer and that is her work. However, again, I just have to go back to the fact that she was served a stalking injunction. She was not supposed to be at CrimeCon. We'll talk about the bar scene later when it comes up in this declaration. I arrived in Denver for CrimeCon and checked into the hotel on September 3rd, 2025. On September 5th, 2025, I was headed to one of the CrimeCon panels and was approached by the police. By the way, she leaves out the fact that when she arrived at the convention, she alerted CrimeCon security about the injunction and told them that she was planning to attend the convention anyway.
So
left that one out.
So
67, the police gave me the temporary injunction and told to remain in the hotel and not attend any of the CrimeCon events. The police told me specifically where I could and could not go. The police explained to me that I was permitted to remain in the hotel and access all areas of the hotel, except that I was not allowed to go beyond the designated CrimeCon signage or into CrimeCon events. I asked about the hotel bar, and they told me that I could be there so long as it was not the CrimeCon convention and I was not approaching within 500 feet of Matthias. That's pretty clear cut. You were told. The audio of this conversation is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D10. That night...
Oh, just stop it there for fair use. And I think, look, head over to Everyday with Jay because they've got the receipts on Megan and Schmo Guy getting photos of Christina. So... anyway, that's Every Day with Jay. Fantastic coverage. Very, very good. Okay, let's get back to this because it's my opinion, fair use.
I was in the hotel bar taking a picture for Lindsay of her employer. Prior to arriving at the bar, one of my friends confirmed that Lauren was not in the bar. Okay, but it's also a really big bar. And it was very crowded all of the nights of crime.
Oh, don't you just love this invite in look, where does it say in the documents? Yes, but it's a big bar. Fuck off, Megan.
Gone. So is it possible that friend didn't see Lauren there? I think so. It's a huge area. So if you can imagine sort of like a courtyard type of an area that's surrounded by 4 different restaurants and another cafe and a coffee house. It's a huge bar area. So that entire bar area is surrounded by these different restaurants on the sides. So from the steps coming down into the bar area all the way to the exit.
So why was no guy, Lauren and what's her name, Grayson, moving seats to get closer to Christina? She had no idea. Oh.
Of the bar area is a really huge area, and it definitely would have been easy to miss an individual person sitting in that area. After being in the bar for several hours, a friend notified me that Lauren had entered the bar. Well, I'm going to push back on that because I was in the bar from early in the evening. Lauren was there already when I arrived, and it wasn't until much later that we saw Christina in the bar area. So I don't know who was there first.
See, again, you don't know. You might have missed seeing Christina. So, again, fuck off, Megan.
Definitively, I can't say. I don't have the security camera footage. It's in dispute. But the bottom line is she was told not to be within 500 feet of Lauren. So immediately upon seeing Lauren, she should have left. And I can attest that that was not her behavior. She was looking over at Lauren and Grayson several times as she was taking these pictures of Lindsay's employer. So she knew very well how close she was to Lauren and Grayson.
Joe,
I immediately wrapped up what I was doing and left. I'm going to push back on the immediately because she was there for a pretty long time. She was there long enough for Grayson and I to go talk to security and come back.
There you go.
She was still there. It was a pretty long time.
Well done, Megan. So you helped Grayson to alert security so that Christine can be removed. Yeah. Anyway, fair use.
73. I did not intentionally stand close to Lauren as Grayson alleged, or as, I don't know, Lauren and Grayson, as Lauren alleged in the second declaration. Rather, they entered my space. That is not true. Lauren and Grayson were stationary, and Christina was the one who was moving around.
We've seen
on September 6, 2025, I was again in the bar at the hotel's restaurant when Lauren appeared because she, quote, wanted to come to the bar. She called the police and had me removed from the bar. I don't think that's accurate, but I don't know for sure, so I can't speak to the timing of all of that and how that all happened. During my conversation with the police, Lauren and Grayson walked right by us, which is inconsistent with her claim that she was afraid of me. Well, let's see. If I am afraid of somebody and I see the police talking to somebody, then I'm not worried that somebody is going to come over and do anything to me because...
it's not about you, Megan. Why have you finished reading the locked documents? Doesn't matter what you're going to do, what you think. Anyway, fair use.
The police are right there. So 76. In other words, after serving me an order that prevented me from being within 500 feet of her, Lauren purposely entered that space to force an encounter just as she had done the prior day, and to Lauren, I don't know what that redaction is there, just as she had done the prior day, and to blank following the cease and desist letter. Oh, to Lindsay. So again, the cease and desist letter doesn't prevent any kind of contact. And I don't think that Lauren purposely entered the bar space to force an encounter with Christina. That's not my recollection of the events at all. On September 7th,
we've got the videos and the pictures to show that people switched seats, and yeah.
2025, I was having lunch in one of the hotel restaurants. I left with another individual, redacted, and walked across the center courtyard between restaurants. I saw Lauren and immediately left the area with redacted. At no point did I attempt to approach or communicate with Lauren. That seems like a reasonable thing to me, to like, you see her and you walk the other way. That all seems reasonable. The same weekend as CrimeCon, I posted 3 videos that I had created long before, receiving the temporary injunction. Okay, just because you created them before you received the injunction doesn't mean it's okay to post them, because posting them is what you're enjoined against doing.
No, but carry on.
So you just admitted that you posted 3 videos about Lauren
with
the injunction in place.
No.
Christina says, the videos are not posted to a, quote, targeted account, as Lauren claims, nor were they directed at Lauren, and were not threatening, defamatory, or harassing, in her opinion. But what's the legal definition? We have to hold it up against that.
That's right. In her opinion, Lauren's incense says they were. That's why she got this temporary induction. And they were in court on the other day. And because of law and crime, she withdrew it. But anyway.
I did not believe the injunction restricted my ability to post public commentary, but the injunction did specifically say that you were not to post anything threatening, harassing, or defamatory. Again, we have to hold that up against the legal definition, not your opinion of whether or not
or yours, or
threatening,
yours.
defamatory, or harassing.
Or yours.
Lauren's alleged fear and emotional distress. Now, this is where I start to get a little upset about this whole thing, because none of us are able to accurately judge the fear and distress of another person unless we've witnessed them in baseline and then in fear and distress, unless we are a licensed mental health clinician. And even then, sometimes it can be difficult if you don't know the person's baseline. So arguably,
gee, it's lucky she lives with a psychologist. Oh, because yes, you're right. No one should gauge how someone else will take anything. So that's why you have to be careful with what you say, obviously. And yeah. Anyway, keeps reading, Megan.
Has Christina been around Lauren when she was not distressed? Yes. Arguably, has she also been around Lauren when she was distressed? Possibly. But we'll get into it as we go. 82. I've never threatened or caused anyone to threaten Lauren, her husband, or her coworkers. During the time that I was friends with Lauren, I observed and learned many things about Lauren's mental and emotional health. I personally observed signs that Lauren was anxious, depressed, and otherwise mentally and emotionally unwell. Okay, anxious, depressed, those are clinical terms. So maybe use different language to describe what you observed. This leads me to question many of the statements Lauren makes regarding her mental and emotional health.
There you go, Christine. Maybe use different words in the court documents.
In the Lauren declarations, or at a minimum, the cause of the mental and emotional health problems. Similarly, the Grayson declaration claims that Grayson needed anxiety medication to manage the effects, quote, I was causing, when I know from personal interactions with Grayson that she's received mental health treatment, including medication, well before the issues alleged in the Grayson declaration. Again, I'm just going to push back against knowing about the mental health treatment, knowing about the medication. How much did you know? If I was an attorney, this would be something I would want to heavily question her on.
Oh, thank you, Megan. We'll make a note of that. The attorney needs to question her on Grayson's mental health. Oh, love and fair use.
87. I did not cause, nor is it reasonable for Lauren and Grayson, I don't know, to claim that I caused any of the issues they allege simply by A, exercising my freedom of speech, and B, addressing the public about matters of public interest. Well, if all Christina was doing was exercising freedom of speech and addressing the public about matters of public interest, then I might be able to agree with this statement. However, based solely on the TikTok that was aimed at shaming Lauren for wanting to obtain the genetic material of her brother, based just on that one, that's not just freedom of speech. That's defamatory because it is a lie. It's not true. And it is emotionally distressing because you're targeting a brother who had recently passed away and who was beloved to the petitioner. So
because
you're not just exercising freedom of speech there. And you're also not addressing the public about matters of public interest because those were private conversations between Lauren and her family. And even if Christina had been told about them or was privy to them somehow, obviously she knew about them in some way.
There you go.
But that's not.
So rumors were true. They were having a chat about her dead brother. God, these people are unbelievable.
Not a matter of public interest. Sorry, it's just not.
So you say.
88. I am not, quote, obsessed with Lauren, as she claims. I have simply responded when she's involved me or when she's made false or misleading public statements. I believe that Lauren is singularly fixated on preventing me from engaging in public discourse regarding any information about or even related to Lauren that Lauren deems hurtful or harmful. I don't know. I mean, making a TikTok account with 70 videos, 50 of which at least 50 of them are specifically about Lauren, that's a bit of an obsession, to be honest with you, in less than a 6-month period.
So you say.
89. None of my public posts show Lauren's face, use her name, or encourage others to contact her. I express my opinion on matters of public concern and of interest to my subscribers, followers, and friends. Yeah, just because you don't show her face doesn't mean people don't know about it. And when I was listening to the court audio, it was very clear that Lindsay knew that that count was specifically referencing Lauren. And
a TikTok account that no one knew about until Lauren's anyway, until we found out through you guys. Well done. Good helping, Megan.
She did use Lauren's name. So number 89 is a blatant lie because Christina did use Lauren's name in the hashtags on those videos.
No.
90. Lauren and Grayson have both engaged in conduct towards me, Lindsay, Lori, Janice, and others that strongly contradict their testimony, such as reaching out to me by phone and taking purposeful steps to put herself in the same location and physical proximity with us. Arguably, Lauren is working at trials, etc., and it's debatable as to whether Christina was actually working at those trials or just attending as public. 91.
What is Lauren? She's just a member of the public. She has a YouTube channel. She's a mum. Fair use.
Lauren's public posts also contradict her and Grayson's testimony that Lauren and Grayson have experienced fear or emotional distress. Again, what we post in public is not how we feel necessarily. For example, while the Lauren declarations state that she was incapacitated by fear for months, she was actively creating, publishing, and promoting content on podcasts and social media during that same period. Yeah, we all have to work and earn a living regardless of how we privately feel about things. And I, for one...
So, again, it's all right for this model to go on, but poor Christine, her work is unimportant. You people are unbelievable.
Can attest for pushing through, working, and being a mom for years on end while I was daily being emotionally abused and coercively controlled.
So we're talking about Megan now. So we've got to feel bad about the abuse that Megan copped. It's not our fault that you stay in that stupid religion, peoples. You good Melbournes.
So yeah, we put on that face. We do what we have to do. Doesn't mean that everything is okay on the inside. So 93. Lauren has published live content over 100 times since April 9th, 2025. She has posted hundreds of pre-recorded videos and her podcast episodes during the same time period across various platforms she uses. Again, not an indictment of how she actually feels. On July 6, 2025, Lauren and her husband posted a hidden true crime podcast episode called, quote, Cults and Conformity, in which they discuss a variety of topics, including interpersonal relationships, the nature of cults and communities, family dynamics, conformity, cyberbullying, and AI regulation. Multiple times in the episode, Lauren mentions how she has always liked, quote, chaos, though not, quote, necessarily the kind of chaos that hurts people. I don't even know why we're referencing that.
Because that's
96. Lauren also described how she does not like conformity, and for that reason, many people do not like her. Lauren's husband casually mentioned that their company had experienced, quote, growing pains due to negative interactions with the public. 97. The episode contains no indication that Lauren was afraid, distressed, or panicking, which directly contradicts Lauren and
how also described how she does not like conformity, and for that reason, many people do not like her. Dr. John husband casually mentioned that their company had experienced growing pains due to the negative interactions with the public. That's a good one.
Grayson's testimony that they were unable to function in daily life and that this situation has persisted for 4 months. Again, I'm just going to push back on that because they were working. So no, they're not going to appear afraid, distressed, or panicked while they're recording an episode about an unrelated topic. Well, somewhat related, but also, again, not the same as an emotional live where you're sharing your innermost thoughts.
Oh my God.
It also 98. It also contradicts Lauren's testimony that Lauren's husband, a licensed psychologist, purportedly the very next morning, this is Grayson's testimony that Lauren's husband, a licensed psychologist, purportedly the very next morning confided in Grayson that Lauren was experiencing thoughts of self-harm and rocking in bed just hours after posting the episode. Yeah, because you know what? Holding inside all of those difficult emotions and not expressing them, if you don't express your emotions, they're going to come out sideways at some point. And when you hold it in for that long, you're going to experience some severe emotional fallout and distress from that.
I wonder how. Oh, is that because that's what you go through, Megan? You bunch of snowflakes.
99. Around the same time, Lauren also appeared on an episode of the Mormon Stories podcast where she shared her thoughts and personal details about her life. Again, this contradicts Lauren and Grayson's testimony that she was living in fear and unable to function. How does appearing on a podcast contradict a narrative that you're living in fear? You're still going to go about your daily life as best you possibly can. And when you're a public figure, you're going to try and hide or minimize the negative emotions that you're feeling so that you can continue to work and function. And again, as I've stated several times in my videos, I know for a fact that Lauren's appearance on Mormon Stories, had been planned for a very long time. And, this just doesn't hold any water for me.
Thanks, Megan, for your opinion. Because that's all it is, isn't it? Your opinion. Fair use.
101. Instead, it illustrates how Lauren is using this proceeding to attempt to quash legitimate public discourse on topics and issues that she has spoken about in various media. More recently, on August 2nd, 2025, Lauren appeared on the Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo podcast, where she announced she would attend CrimeCon and discuss numerous other topics. To date, the episode has over 12,000 views and approximately 250 comments. I don't see how that's relevant. Lauren is a podcaster. It's her job to appear on podcasts, so I don't see how that's relevant. So that's the end of the declaration. Under penalty of perjury, even though, in my opinion, she did lie several times in this declaration.
Thank you, Megan. Anyway, looking forward to the cease and desist letter, because I tell you, if I got one of these, it would be on.
Now, just because some of you have requested it, I'm going to read the cease and desist order. So this cease and desist letter was sent on April 11th of 2025 to Lindsay from the Pace Johnson Law Group. It says, I'm writing to you on behalf of my clients, Lauren Matthias and Hidden True Crime, to formally demand that you immediately cease and desist from engaging in any further actions that defame Ms. Matthias or interfere with the business operations and relationships of Hidden True Crime. As such, please refrain from communicating directly with Ms. Matthias or Hidden True Crime or its affiliates. All correspondence must be sent to me. It has come to our attention that you've engaged and continue to engage in conduct that is damaging to Ms. Matthias's reputation and has negatively impacted Hidden True Crime's professional relationships. Specifically, you have allegedly communicated false and misleading information about Ms. Matthias and or Hidden True Crime to others within the crime media industry, including making claims about Ms. Matthias's personal and professional character that are untrue and damaging. 2, you've purportedly asserted that Ms. Matthias and Hidden True Crime have engaged in unethical business practices, which is false and harmful to Hidden True Crime and Ms. Matthias's reputation. 3, you've been reported to have reached out to various business contacts and or partners of Hidden True Crime with the intent to disparage Ms. Matthias and disrupt their business relationships. Your actions are not only harmful, but legally actionable. Defamation involves the communication of a false statement to a third party, resulting in harm to another's reputation. Your communications and attempts to undermine Ms. Matthias and Hidden True Crime constitute such defamatory actions. Additionally, your interference with their business relationships is actionable under laws prohibiting tortious interference with economic relations. These claims afford the possibility of finding you liable for damages, both economic and non-economic. Complete compliance with this letter requires you to immediately cease and desist from making any further defamatory statements, both public and private, about Ms. Mathias or Hidden True Crime and its affiliates. Refrain from contacting any business partners or professional contacts of Hidden True Crime or Ms. Mathias with the intent to disparage my clients. Provide a written confirmation that you've received this letter and will comply with these demands. Failure to immediately comply with this demand will result in legal action, including but not limited to seeking damages for defamation and interference with business relationships, as well as any other remedies available under the law and in any relevant jurisdiction in which damaging statements have been sent or received. You are further required to preserve all evidence related to the facts and allegations of this letter and your actions. Attempts to destroy or delete relevant evidence may result in the imposition of severe sanctions against you in any subsequent legal proceedings. Evidence may include, without limitation, any data, social media posts, internet service provider history, emails, historical cloud server access, cellular carrier records, text messages, encrypted message apps, screenshots, video and voice recordings, emails, social media messages, and any other information, documents, or data relevant to the claims in this letter. Please be advised that this letter is written without prejudice to any other legal or equitable rights or remedies that my client may have against you. My client reserves the right to take any and all legal action necessary to protect her rights and interests, including seeking monetary damages, injunctive relief, and attorney's fees and costs. This letter is not intended to be a complete statement of all the facts or claims pertaining to this matter, nor is it a waiver of my client's rights or remedies, whether legal or equitable, all of which are expressly reserved. I hope this matter can be resolved amicably and without further recourse to the legal system. However, please be advised that Ms. Mathias and Hidden True Crime are prepared to take all necessary legal actions to protect their rights and reputations and to deter further damage. You or your attorney may contact me regarding this matter to my attention at email address. Please confirm in writing that you've received this letter and will comply with the above demands. I look forward to your prompt attention to this serious matter. So again, the cease and desist does not prevent Lauren from talking to Lindsay or asking her if the seat next to her is available. In a small...
Yes, but why would you want to talk to someone after sending or receiving such a letter? Weak excuse, Megan.
Crowded courtroom when there weren't other seats available, perfectly reasonable for Lauren to ask,
now
is it possible for me to sit here? The cease and desist was...
I think Lauren said that there were other seats available and she found one at the other end of the courtroom. But anyway, check out Every Day with Che.
Sent out as, usually those things are sent out as a preliminary to a defamation suit if the defamation continues. Clearly, it came to Lauren's attention that Lindsay was contacting people in the industry and telling falsehoods about Lauren's conduct and about the things that she had said and done. So here again, all of these people that have come speaking out saying, Lauren did this, Lauren did that, Lauren said this, Lauren said that, I'm still waiting for the receipts and the evidence of what she did and said, other than Gigi.
Every Day with Jay. Megan, maybe you might want to toggle off to her channel. She's got the receipts because Lauren didn't have them either.
Gigi's statement that she made. And also, even though Gigi made that statement, I'm curious as to whether or not the things that Gigi was...
Here we go. So even though Gigi has made a statement, this one wonders if it's based on false information about Lauren. Geez, these girls.
Told that Lauren said were actually true. If Lauren actually said that or not. I've already seen a text message exchange that I think was taken out of context by certain people and then commented on how damaging and harmful that was. Now, I'm going to address first up here before I get to comments and things that happened on my live.
Now we're just going to get rude.
A lot of people said that they were willing to believe Lauren until they saw Kresha's live, on which Kay came on and commented about her experience. My question is, or I believe that Kresha and Kay have a right to feel the way that they feel. I'm not trying to tell them not to be hurt or upset. I also believe that most likely this resentment has been building for a really long time, and this seemed like a good opportunity to air it. I don't agree with the way that it was done, but I'm not going to try to tell Kay and Kresha that they don't feel the way that they feel. However, what I do question is whether or not what Kay has been told about Lauren is actually true. Because I very, very strongly believe that there's at least one other person behind the scenes continuing this whisper campaign, saying things about Lauren that are not true. And just because Lindsay received a cease and desist doesn't mean she complied with it. Now, I'm just speculating here. I'm not trying to accuse Lindsay of anything, but I'm saying it's possible that Kay and Kresha and Gigi and others have been told things about Lauren that are not true. I'm still waiting for the receipts. Please email them to me at askmegan@gmail.com, Megan with 2 E's, ask MEEGAN @gmail.com. If I receive something.
Okay, I can't listen to her any longer. So that was Megan Connor, just with her thoughts on the documents by Christina's side. So now all documents are in play. You can make up your mind. Again, stay safe. Have a good day, whatever part of the world you're in, and check out Every Day with Jay and also Megan Connor channel. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.